Today on Who is That Saint? We meet the bishop who tamed barbarian kings, healed the sick and smuggled peace into a violent world armed only with prayer, humility and the occasional miracle. Saint Germain of Paris wasn't a royal. He wasn't a warrior. But he was exactly what Merovingian France didn't know it desperately needed. A holy man who made kings kneel and cities weep. If you've ever wondered whether gentleness can actually change the world, Saint Germain has an answer. Yes, if it's holy enough. Germain was born around 496 AD in Autun, Burgundy, in what's now central France. His parents were Christian but poor. From a young age, Germain stood out, not for his brilliance or boldness, but for his relentless kindness and obvious holiness. He joined the local monastery at Saint Symphorien, and his piety was so intense, even his fellow monks thought he might burn himself out. He lived simply, prayed constantly, fasted like a desert father and spent nights in intercessory prayer. Eventually Germain was made abbot, and not long after he was dragged, against his will of course, to become Bishop of Paris. Paris in the 6th century was not a postcard. It was a city caught between warrior kings, pagan customs and political instability. Into this mess stepped Bishop Germain, soft-spoken, unarmed and already performing miracles. He healed the sick, multiplied food for the poor, and reportedly cast out demons too. But what made Germain famous was his ability to do something far harder than exorcisms. He called out kings and they listened. He wasn't loud. He wasn't flashy. But he had moral weight. When King Childebert I was busy living like a godless tyrant, Germain didn't send a nasty letter. He prayed. He fasted. He wept. And somehow the king changed. Childebert gave up violence, built churches and even founded Saint Germain de Paris Abbey in Paris, which still stands today. Germain didn't fight the powerful. He loved them, in the way only a saint can love, truthfully, humbly and without fear. When kings fell back into corruption, and they often did, Germain didn't rant. He wept. He prayed harder. And miracles kept happening. One story tells of Germain raising a man from the dead after a roadside accident. Another claims he healed a blind woman by making the sign of the cross over her eyes. But Germain's greatest miracles were moral. Greedy nobles becoming generous, violent men turning gentle, whole communities repenting. He didn't write treatises or run councils. He walked barefoot through a kingdom and turned barbarians into builders. Germain served as bishop for over 30 years, refusing to retire even as his health declined. He built churches, defended the poor, rescued orphans and kept Paris from collapsing under the weight of its own sin. When he died on May 28, 576, the entire city mourned. People cried in the streets. Miracles were reported at his tomb. Later, a great abbey was renamed in his honor, Saint Germain de Paris, which would become one of the most important spiritual centers in medieval France. And more importantly, his memory endured as that rare kind of Christian who combined power and gentleness, justice and mercy, humility and authority. Saint Germain of Paris is now the patron saint of Paris, abused children, reformed rulers, peacemakers, and honestly he should be the patron of anyone trying to do good in a chaotic world without losing their soul. He's proof that holiness isn't about volume. It's about presence. The kind of presence that makes even kings set down their swords and listen. Saint Germain didn't change France with armies or decrees. He changed it by being so holy the unholy couldn't ignore him. He reminds us that quiet saints still shake kingdoms, and that the church doesn't need more celebrities. It needs more Germains. Quote of the day. While no direct quotes from Germain survive, the words spoken about him say everything. He lived as an angel among men. May we do the same. Outro music fades out.